Bruce Banner stands over Captain America's body, trying to figure out what happened. Black Widow and Hawkeye enter the room, and they go to check out the security cameras, but they don't find anything on the cameras. No one was on the Quinjet that Captain America stepped off of. That's when Bruce starts to accuse Black Widow, since she's the one that found Captain America's body. But she says, doesn't this seem more like the Hulk's doing? And before it can escalate anymore, Hawkeye separates the two, as they go to try and find Iron Man, who said he was going to spend the whole night in his lab. That's when Bruce notices the blood on the floor, and since Stark isn't answering, Bruce talks to Jarvis and uses his voice permissions to open the suit. That's when what's left of Iron Man spills out on the floor. The three are distraught at the sight, but they stay strong, asking Jarvis to replay the last conversation that Iron Man had, and they realize he was talking to Thor. And the trio say, who could kill someone like that but a god, as they rush to Thor's room, and Banner hulks out. But as he grabs Thor and whips him around, we see that Thor has fallen to whatever killed the other two. That's when Banner starts getting accused again, and Hawkeye pulls out an arrow to kill him, an adamantium arrow that he's been saving for a moment like this, a moment that the Hulk turned evil. But before he can release the bowstring, Black Widow shoots him in the head, as we see the Venom symbiote is inside of her, but it leaves, overtaking the Hulk.
Ngozi was once a gifted track star until a bus accident cost her the use of her legs. Confined to a wheelchair, she found herself infatuated with grasshoppers, and one day she wanders outside trying to catch one, where Rhino and Black Panther just so happen to be battling. Rhino drops the canister that he was transporting, and it lands next to Ngozi's wheelchair, a black substance leaking out that eventually overtakes her. The symbiote, now bonded to her, allows her to stand, and she is overjoyed. Unfortunately, Rhino gets the best of Black Panther in the battle and kills him. The symbiote grows scared, trying to leave, but Ngozi's will is too strong and she overpowers the symbiote, forcing it to stay and help her fight. She manages to take down the Rhino, using the symbiote's abilities to give herself wings and back legs like a grasshopper. Word of her deeds spreads to Wakanda, and they give her a fruit that will help her keep her power over the symbiote, and she becomes the next Black Panther.
In issue 1 of Edge of Venomverse, we see X-23 break out of her cell. As she's escaping, she finds another experiment, a Venom symbiote that coats her and helps her escape. When she's out in the world by herself, she takes residence in an abandoned building. One day, a group of other homeless kids come into the abandoned building, and after saving them, she finds her first real friends. They spend weeks together, getting to know each other, before they're attacked again, the lab she's escaped from, once their experiment's back. But little do the scientists know that the symbiote has divided itself into pieces, giving a piece to each of the children to help protect them. X-23 and the other children are able to escape the scientists and lock themselves in a room. But as they're burning the door off, the symbiote pulls all the extra pieces the other children had back into X-23 before being sucked into itself. And X-23 and her symbiote are teleported, recruited into the war against the poisons. In another world, Frank Castle, the Punisher's war on crime has come to a screeching halt. Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, has allied with all the crime families of New York to take down Frank Castle. After holding them off for months, Castle is out of ammo and resources, but Fisk has offered a truce. When Castle shows himself, he's searched by Fisk's men, and they find no weapons on him. But as Fisk reveals he was going to kill Castle no matter what, Castle spits a black substance in Fisk's face, telling him he's taken a deal. Castle made an agreement with the Venom symbiote. The symbiote helps him take out Fisk and his men and continue his war on crime. The symbiote reveals that part of the deal was Castle taking out someone for him. But when Castle realizes it's Peter Parker, Spider-Man, he balks at the thought of killing an innocent. Just as the Venom symbiote's about to force him to pull the trigger, Castle and his symbiote are teleported away. A mixture of Sasquatch, Dr. Octopus, and Deadpool is attacking a SHIELD convoy holding a prisoner. Just as it seems like the situation is dire, Ghost Rider appears, dispatching the villains. But we also see him take the SHIELD agents. This Ghost Rider explains to the prisoner that was being transported that he's not just a Ghost Rider, he also has found himself a symbiote. Robbie Reyes was already a conflicted man, but with a Venom symbiote, the Spirit of Vengeance, and himself all vying for powers in his head, the symbiote and the spirit won out. We learn that Reyes has no control over anything he does, being used as a living engine for the Venom symbiote and the Spirit. We learn that this amalgamation survives off of eating people's sins, which is why he wanted to get this convict. He then feeds the body to his car. He suddenly finds himself being teleported somewhere else, pulled into himself, recruited for the war against the poisons. We find ourselves outside Ripley Diagnostics, as Deadpool slips in through a window, hunting down a parasitologist. Not long after he enters, we see a figure approaching out of the darkness around him. Two more quickly follow as we see something is wrong with them. They have what appears to be tapeworms coming out of their mouths. Deadpool quickly cuts off their heads, but they seem unfazed, the worms pulling their heads back onto their bodies. As Deadpool is backed up against the wall, attacked by the worms, he sees a different parasite on the shelf behind him, the Venom symbiote, which he has bonded with in the past. He uses it to help fight off the scientists, eventually killing all of them, before seeing that they've already sent out parasitic organs to a hospital for transplants. Deadpool arrives at the hospital, bursting into the operating room, but it's too late. The parasitic organ has already taken over the man. As they fight, the worms almost overwhelm Deadpool yet again, but he manages to get them off by electrocuting himself. But as the fighting goes on, Deadpool eventually finds himself overrun with the worms, as they sink themselves deeper and deeper into his body. Luckily, the Venom symbiote fights back, refusing to let the worms overtake Deadpool's heart, and Deadpool starts to spit out worms. Reinvigorated, he manages to take out the worms. In Volume 2 of Deadpool Samurai, after the Samurai Squad have their butts kicked by Thanos, Deadpool pulls out an Avengers communicator, saying he'll call in the strongest Avenger, an obvious reference to Nick Fury calling in Captain Marvel at the end of Infinity War. But Thanos rips the communicator out of Deadpool's hands, causing Deadpool's finger to slip and send his plea for help to the wrong person. With his iconic Detroit smash, All Might makes his glorious entrance. Japan's #1 hero tries a dual attack with Deadpool, but Deadpool trips, so All Might faces Thanos alone, smashing him into the wall and leaving, but not before signing Deadpool's manga. Vance Astrovic was born in New York State, going into the Air Force once he was old enough and changing his name to Vance Astro before he entered the space training program. Once his training was complete, they sent him in a rocket towards Alpha Centauri 4. Vance was put asleep for the 1,000-year journey, and when he finally awoke, finding the planet already settled, Vance finds that light speed travel was invented while he was asleep, and he must now wear a containment suit or he'll age instantly. After running into a native named Yondu, the planet is attacked by a race of reptilian aliens named the Badoon, and Vance and Yondu must flee, eventually running into other survivors of Badoon attacks, forming into a team that would eventually be known as the Guardians of the Galaxy, protectors of the 31st century. Born on Alpha Centauri 4, Yondu Udanta grew up in a tribe with a very strict set of beliefs and rituals. He became a hunter, using his Yaka arrow that responded to his whistles to take down any prey. But during his manhood ritual, his life changed forever. His tribe did not allow contact with Outworlders, so when Vance Astro, the last survivor of the 21st century, arrived on the planet, Yondu did his best to avoid the man. He swiftly changed his mind though, as the Badoon, a race of reptilian aliens, attacked the planet, wiping out every native on world except Yondu. Yondu and Vance attempted to leave the planet, making it to space before they were caught and taken to Earth by the Badoon. After arriving, they're able to escape and join up with two other last survivors, Martin X and Charlie 27. Determined to take down the Badoon, these four become the Guardians of the Galaxy, protectors of the 31st century. Born on Jupiter, Charlie 27 was used to strong gravity, meaning he is naturally incredibly strong and tough. When his fellow genetically engineered peers on Jupiter were wiped out by a reptilian race known as the Badoon, Charlie was off-world on a space mission. The last survivor of Jupiter joined his fellow last survivors Vance Astro, Martin X, and Yondu to fight the Badoon, who had also wiped out the other's people. This quartet became the first iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the 31st century. Born on Pluto, Martin X's race had been genetically engineered to withstand the climate, his skin crystalline. He also possesses the ability to project heat or cold from his hands. He was a scientist who managed to survive the genocide of his people at the hands of the Badoon, a reptilian race of aliens. Marty joins Charlie 27, last survivor of Jupiter, Yondu, one of the last survivors of Alpha Centauri 4, and Vance Astro, last survivor of the 21st century, to become the Guardians of the Galaxy and protect the 31st century. In the future, Earth is invaded by Martians, a la War of the Worlds. Tony Stark, Iron Man himself, afraid of what would happen if the Martians got a hold of the technology, puts all his suits in a rocket, using Earth's sun's soul to slingshot them far into space, hoping to send them out somewhere where they will never be found. Unfortunately, he miscalculated. The rocket containing the suits crash lands a primitive planet with a race of people who haven't even named themselves yet. After hundreds of years of the technology being on the planet, the aliens finally figured out how to use it, eventually creating a technology-based society. Learning from the technology, they find out who Stark was and start worshipping him as a god, fashioning suits of armor in his image. But everything has pros and cons. Technology that they use requires lots of factories, which pollute the air, and lots of materials to create the suits. So once their planet is stripped, they have to move on, turning themselves into cyborgs and traveling to other planets to steal their resources. In a possible future, Ultron has taken over the world. He has taken over the minds of almost every single person on Earth, including the Avengers. But Doctor Doom has protected himself, and he pulled Avengers from various time periods, consisting of Danielle Cage, the Captain America of the future, Jim Rhodes from his day as Iron Man, the Hulk from before the Avengers were ever formed, back when random mutations were the norm for him, two Thors, the all-new, all-different female Thor, and the immortal Thor of years gone by. Rounding out the team was the modern Black Widow and the modern Vision, although Vision was brought by mistake. Doom specifically selected this team in the hopes that they could take down Ultron, the Allfather. After alternate Captain Americas start disappearing from alternate universes, which leads to the disappearances of Watchers, Tath Key gathers 5 Captain Americas from different universes. One is Steve Rogers, taken right before he gets involved in World War II. Another is Bucky Barnes after he took on the Captain America identity. Third is John Walker, the US agent. The fourth, Kyoshi Morales, known as Commander A, from the year 2410. And finally, Shannon Carter, the American Dream, the Captain America of the next generation.